Alrighty. Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome. It's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live, so happy New Year. Super excited for you all to be here. We're going to talk about that wonderful three-word phrase, quilt as desired. Um, so yeah, it's crazy. So let me just make sure all my tech is working. I want to switch my view here so that you guys see. There we go. That is what we wanted. Okay, as I move through. Okay, so quilt as desired, and you've got my little eye rolly guy here because let me just tell you, when I first started quilting, and I would spend all of that time following the instructions for my top, and then it came to quilt as desired, and it just drove me absolutely batty. Hold on, I've got to make sure. So if you guys, let me find out what I'm looking at here. I need to open up another window so that I can see. Hi, Savannah. How are you? Okay, so I just got my window up so I can see when you guys post in the comments. So anyway, pop over into the comments. Let me know where you're joining me from. I'm not going to keep you long, but this was just one of those things that Quilt as Desired drove me absolutely crazy because the instructions for the piecing were so precise. And then it was like, hey, fly by the seat of your pants. Go quilt it however you want to quilt it. So let me know in the comments if you guys feel the same way. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lisa Kaye, and I do know that a lot of you already know me, but some don't. So I started quilting back in 1997. I feel like that is so long ago. And long arm quilting in 2004. So been at this for a hot little minute. And when I first started quilting, I was quilting customer quilts 24/7 and loving every minute of it. I actually started teaching in 2006, and I fell in love with that even more than I did machine quilting because I got to see my students have their aha moments. And I'm sure that you guys have all experienced aha moments in classes. And as a teacher, like watching your face when you get it is like the best thing in the world. So I am a competitive person by nature, so I did find my way into competing with my quilts. Although my last one was kind of a little while ago, but that's a whole other story. We're not going to get into that. And along the way, I created a line of rulers, and that's the Quilter's Groove rulers. I wrote a book. I did some online online classes. But I will have to say, to date, my two favorite things are my Design Academy, which is my signature course, and the Design Society, which is my membership. So those two things are my little babies. So I'm just going to look over here to look at some of the comments. I know, so Karen, yes, Karen, we missed you. We were talking about it, but I'm glad that you made the live. And it looks like we've got people from all over the place. I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, so please let me know in the comments how you feel when you read Quilt as Desired. I want to see if I'm like the only one or if that's just like a normal, like if it doesn't bother you. That it's just quilt as at whim, at whatever you want. Oh boy, the sun really just started to come out. Woof, okay. So let me know over in the comments what you guys think about Quilt as Desired. All right, I'm trying to change my screen. There we go. So Quilt as Desired. Sometimes when we read that, it can be very overwhelming. And in my almost 20 years of teaching, I still hear quilters say that they have no idea what they're going to quilt on their tops. And I know how frustrating that can be because you've just spent weeks, months, and sometimes, like myself, years piecing together this beautiful top only to get to the instructions and say, quilt as desired. So this can be overwhelming because you've just followed those piecing instructions to a T and now you are left blowing in the breeze, right? Nobody likes that. So what I do here is that, there's so many options that people don't know where to actually start. Another big one is you don't want to ruin your quilt that you just spent all of that time putting together. And I'll tell you, there are two things that really helped me move past indecision. And they both work kind of hand in hand, and we're going to get to that. But before we get to that, let's look at what we really want when it comes time to figuring out what to quilt on our tops. Again, if you guys have questions, just pop it into the comments, put a Q by it, that way I can scroll through and very easily find them. So, okay, so let me keep going. Okay, so what is it that we really desire? I don't think I'm alone in the fact that number one, you don't want to put that top in your UFO pile. So give me a heck yeah, like my UFO pile is overflowing because I have a whole bunch of quilts that I don't know what to quilt on. Two, I think, again, we all want our quilts to be unique, right? And number three, we do not want to struggle in deciding what to quilt on our tops. And lastly, you don't want to think, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin this quilt top if I quilt it by myself, right? Those are the four things that pop into my head. There are probably many more things than just these. So pop into the comments and tell me kind of like what seems to be the thing that holds you back. Is it design? Is it your fear of your skill set? So if you pop in and just let me know what it is that you struggle with, love to hear that. So what holds us back? The three things that I feel and that hold us back are lack of skill, lack of confidence, and lack of ideas in coming up with the quilting for our tops. So let's take a look at all of that, right? So let's take a look at skill because this is one that I do hear quite a bit. So oftentimes it's not your lack of skill, it's your perceived lack of skill. Because we are generally really hard on ourselves and are much better than we actually think we are. Okay, so let's first recognize that. The skills that I have listed, feathers, ruler work, pebbles, free motion, design work, all of those are skills that are similar to muscles. And they need to be flexed. Now, I've been doing this for a really long time, and I like to say that really the only reason that I'm sitting where I am and talking to you all is because I had the privilege of doing customer quilts. And I did about 3,000 of them, and I like to say that they were great to practice on. So that's a lot of quilts. And I was able to flex all of these muscles on all of those quilts. So the more you do, the better you get, right? So really the best thing is on a regular basis, if you aren't quilting, is to draw. Oh, you lost the video. Did everybody lose the video? Doesn't look like it. Okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to check the comments. Let me know if you all are lost it. Okay. So again, what I was saying is the best thing to do on a regular basis if you aren't quilting, because it is like hard to be attached to our studios, is to draw. And I am a huge proponent of that I don't want you drawing on your computer if possible, and I don't want you drawing on a dry erase board. And I know that that's, people are like, yeah, I don't want to waste paper. I don't want to. I'm telling you right now, you need to get a sketch pad and you need to date your sketch pad or however it is that you are drawing. If you're drawing on a computer, you have to be able to save it. You have to be able to date it. I, for the longest time, was trying to do heirloom feathers and I was working on a dry erase board. And it was really, really frustrating because I was not making any progress. And what I realized was I just wasn't seeing my progress because the dry erase board, I would erase. So I couldn't go back. You will never see your progression if you can't look back at past work. Okay? Okay. So I'm just popping over into the comments really quick. No problem seeing the skills slide. Perfect. Lost the small box with you in it. Slides in on it. Yep. So I took myself off because you guys don't need to see my face. Okay. So let's take a look at the next one. Lack of confidence is another one that holds us back. And I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with like lack of skill, right? When we think we aren't good enough at something, we definitely don't feel like we have the confidence that we need in order to do it. There are definitely things we do in our quest for quilting designs that actually can directly lead us to a lack of self-confidence. And I'm going to tell you, we don't do it on purpose. Okay? We're going to cover that. Don't worry. I'll let you guys know. So let me know. I see a couple people have said lack of confidence. Let me know what it is that holds you guys back. Okay. So the next thing I want to look at is if we lack ideas, right? Because I do know that that is a big one. We lack the ideas. Where do we actually go to find the quilting ideas, especially when that stinking pattern says quilt as desired, right? So I find that many of us resort to just going back to our tried and true designs, whether it be, oh, I can't think of anything, so I'm going to put an all over design on this because it's easier. Or I really love feathers, but I don't feel confident enough to do the feathers for fear that I'm going to ruin the quilt that I just spent X amount of time doing, right? Okay. So where do we get these ideas? So I'm going to tell you right now, social media, while we think it's our friend, sometimes it is not. What I found, because I have fallen into that rabbit hole as well, is it is what leads us or promotes that lack of confidence or lack of our skills. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So the two things that you need to actually do, and you might even not even know that you need to do them, right? The first one is you actually have to start before you think you're ready. And I find that if you're waiting till you are ready, well, frankly, you may never think that you are ready, right? So you just have to start. And I know it's kind of like jumping off of the diving board before you think you're ready, you know? But you know that old saying, fake it till you make it? I'm telling you right now, that is so true. So true. You really do want to fake it till you make it. So it requires you to actually start before you're ready. So real quick, I remember when I got my machine, I knew I was doing it as a business, and I started taking customer quilts probably 3 to 4 weeks after I got my machine. Was I ready? Oh, heck no, people. Definitely not. And I definitely don't want to ever see those quilts again. But I knew that I could have just talked myself into waiting forever because I would never be ready. So just start before you're ready. The next thing you need is you need to create a quilting plan. So unless I'm doing an all over design, all of my quilts get a quilting plan. Every single one of them. So let me know in the comments, just with a yes or no, if you have ever created a quilting plan. Now, I know some of you have, because I know some of you are my students, and I love that. So just leave a yes or a no if you've ever created a quilting plan for your quilt. So the benefits of a quilting plan, there are numerous, but one of them is that I love, it allows you to visibly see what you like and what you don't like before you quilt it, right? That means you're spending less time with Jack the Ripper, okay? So you move through your quilts quicker because it eliminates you standing there and staring at your top. When you have a quilting plan, you're going to know exactly what and where you are putting your quilting. Okay? The other thing is it actually allows you to create something that you can actually execute, right? Which is super important. What happens when we're scrolling through social media and we are looking for things? We actually will find numerous things, but they might be well past our skill level. So when you create your own quilting plan, right, you're going to create it to be something that is of your skill level. That is one of the best things about a quilting plan. I love it. Okay, so I'm just popping over into the comments real quick. Susan says, yes, only once. Oh, hi, Tamlin. She says, after taking my course. Yes, yes, yes. I love this. Yes. Oh, good. Oh, I love that you guys do it. Oh, awesome. Yes. Okay, perfect, 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 perfect. You guys are on the ball. So you don't even need to be here because you already know the benefits of the quilting plan. Okay, so the key takeaways from today to reduce your feeling of overwhelm when you read that wonderful Quilt as Desired, right, is definitely what I just said. Start before you're ready. You're never going to think you're ready, especially if you're just starting. You need to just jump in. Now, am I going to tell you to jump in and do a quilt top that you've just spent 3 years piecing? Oh, that light is really right in my face today. Whew, okay. No, that's not what I'm saying. But that's when you want to just piece some really simple stuff that you can piece in, a day, and to practice your quilting. But you're not going to progress in your skills if you don't actually do it, right? So we're going to start before we're ready. And then obviously the next one is we are going to create a quilting plan. And when I talk about a quilting plan, literally we're drawing the quilting plan out, right? And it's something that you have by your machine and you are following it. It is not something that you just say, okay, I'm going to do this here, this there, and then you leave that note or that piece of paper somewhere completely in another room when you're getting ready to quilt. It's something that you actually follow so that you do, one, spend less time with Jack the Ripper. You move through your quilt quicker. I'm curious to see how many UFOs do you guys have in your pile. So leave that in the comments. How many UFOs do you have in your pile? And is it because you don't know what you're going to quilt on them, right? So I want to those two things. How many, and is it because you do not know what to quilt on it? Or why is it in that UFO pile? And how can we take those UFOs and get them out of that pile into something that's finished, right? That's the goal. We don't want all those UFOs. I was just actually thinking about, what would happen if if something happened to me? Like, what would my family be doing? What would, with all of my UFOs? So I'm on the quest to kind of finish those so that doesn't actually happen. Okay, so hold on, let's do this. We're gonna go back to this. I'm gonna move some stuff around. Okay, that sun is right in my face. So hold on just a second. I just want to close this a little bit. Maybe that'll help. And it doesn't. Okay. All right, I'm back. I am back. Okay. So it's cold here, so I always snuggle up with my blanket. All right, I want to look at some of these comments. And again, if you guys have questions, just leave them in the comments with a Q in front of them. So I'm just going to scroll back a little bit and see. Okay, so Rhonda is trying to learn Procreate. So if you aren't familiar with Beth Ann Nemish, she has a class on Procreate that is supposed to be outstanding. So make sure, Rhonda, that you check out that. Okay. Okay, so Jennifer says that she struggles. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see that. That's okay. Well, okay. So Jennifer says that her go-to is Procreate, but struggles with the sizing between the iPad and reality. Yeah, so that does, it presents a problem at times, but when I pull in the picture into Procreate, I try and pull it in at the size. I think you can. You can pull it in the size that the actual quilt is, I think. But one of the things, Jennifer, with Procreate, and anybody that uses Procreate, you want a high resolution picture or it pixelates if you try to zoom in. So make sure that you are using a high resolution picture for that. So Janet says she makes placemats. Awesome. That is a great way to practice. So one of the things that we do in society, which is my online membership, is we're just now doing our second block quilt. So quilted block, I should say, where we piece together something that's really fairly simple, and we all make the same one, and then we all quilt it. And it's just really fun to see how everybody quilts it so differently. All right, so now we're on to see how many UFOs you guys have. So we've got 12, 10, 8. Tamlin just kind of laughs. 2. Oh my gosh, you're like my hero. I love that. Over 50. Oh my gosh. We need to chat. We need to get those UFOs. We need to get them out of that pile. Too numerous to count. Love that. Love it. Okay. So I did see, okay, so Margaret says she loves to piece and you're afraid of the quilting. So Margaret, if you're still on, I want you to tell me what it is that you are afraid of. Like, what is it that is actually stopping you? So I do know, and I've had numerous people tell me that they're actually afraid of their machine. So purchased this huge long arm, invested all this money, and then it just sits there and it's like a drying rack. You know, they hang clothes on it because they're afraid. They're afraid of ruining their quilt, but they're also afraid of breaking their machine. So I do know that that's real. Lack of time. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Cindy's just nervous to start. Okay. So, Cindy, I would say if you've got 3 UFOs, I would pick the one that you spent the least amount of time on, and that's where I would start. Or if you don't even want to, if those 3 are special to you, piece together a simple 9 patch and practice your skills with that. Oh, I love that, Karen. Oh my gosh, you guys aren't gonna be able to see it again. Karen says that her problem is PhD, perhaps half done. Yeah, I have I have a lot of those as well. I have a lot of those as well. Okay. So no, my quilting looks shaky, no pretty smooth lines. So Margaret, I'm curious, like how long have you been quilting with that particular machine? Because a lot of times it is just practice. Yes, and Susan, you are 100% right. Community service quilts are a great way to practice. So your guild probably has something if you belong to a guild, and you can actually quilt those. Great practice. So what I want to get across to you is I don't want you guys, when you read that Quilt As Desired, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I know it's frustrating when you get to that point and that's what it says, but that's what it is, and people, that's not going to change. It's still always going to say Quilt As Desired. So what I want you guys to realize is that start before you're ready. Don't put that piece, don't put it in your UFO pile just because you don't know what you're going to quilt, right? Get out a piece of paper, get it, like start drawing, start experimenting with where you're going to put what, and then use the skills that you have. And if you're a very beginner, if you don't know how to do ruler work, then don't do ruler work. If you don't know how to do feathers, don't do feathers. If you know how to do loops, we all know how to do loops, right? Loop-de-loop-de-loop. You can do great designs with just loops. So, but create that quilting plan. And even if you create the quilting plan and you're not ready to quilt it, put the quilting plan with the quilt top. That way you can go, okay, these were my ideas before, and you can build off of those ideas. Or maybe you're a little bit more advanced by the time you get to that, and you can create a new quilting plan. But at least you kind of had an idea of what you were going to do. So start before you're ready and create a quilting plan. Those are the 2 important things I want you guys to take away from today. All right. So I will be on live again, I think Thursday at 2 p.m. So if you guys have questions, formulate them and we can discuss them on Thursday at 2 p.m. Same time, same bat channel. So I will see you guys back here on Thursday. All right, you guys have a fantastic day and go quilt.